Okay. If you go out to any open space where you're going to take photographs distance, as you're standing there on your own, straight up and down, vertical to the ground, with your eyeballs gimbaling all over the place, right? You know, like I'm rocking my head back and forth, but my eyes are staying straight. Like, you know what I mean? Like your eyeballs are where they get the idea for a gimbal, right? So if you're looking straight ahead with no other mechanism but your eye, you see the world in 3 dimensions. You see straight ahead of you, miles and miles and miles. That's depth. And then you have targets in the distance that have height. And those targets also have size, or what we would say is the width, right? So you have height, width, and depth. So now as you're looking out into the distance, and there's no mirage, you're just looking over distance. It's all 3 dimensions. Now enters the mirage. You're still looking over the same topographical area. You haven't moved. It's a different day, but the conditions of the day are such that now there's a mirage. What has changed? Well, first of all, you have a limitation to how far you can see, because the mirage will obstruct the distance. Anything that finds itself within that degree in your visual space, which exists. If there is something in the distance within that field of view, it will be completely obstructed by the mirage, unless it has height to it. If it has height to it, then you will see that thing above the mirage. Okay? So as you're looking at, and again, I've done videos on this, you have to have a control image. The control image is where you have a full corridor, a full visual corridor with no obstruction visually, with no occultation or obstruction. So then if you bring in a mirage and you're looking down that same corridor, it is not going to look the same. And so then you have to then describe what you're seeing and explain what's happening. And you don't need math to do it. You do not need math at all to explain or describe what you're seeing. You can do that yourself with your own words. So there are certain elements to a mirage that you need to take into consideration. You have what is called the vanishing line. Okay? So let's say, for instance, on a very clear day, when you have your control image and there is a house in the distance and you can see the house. You can see the house all the way down to the ground. I can show you this with my observations. Okay? You can see the roof, you can see the floor. The house is fully in view. I am just really tempted, I'm distracted, tempted to go to, look, there's all these tanker ships out. There's 1, 2, 3. I'm going over the Chesapeake Bay right now on the Bay Bridge going into Annapolis, Maryland. And it looks like it's just an amazingly beautiful day on the water. And if I can read my, I don't know, it looks like it looks like it would be a nice clear day. So there's 4 tanker ships, 1, 3, 4, these massive tanker ships. Wow. I might stop at North Point State Park and see what I can see. All right. Going back to the vanishing line of the mirage. If I have a full view of the house, there's no mirage. But if I go back on another day and there's a mirage, that mirage will bisect the house at a particular point. And depending on the index of refraction, it could happen only at the bottom floor, it could happen at the second floor, it could happen even in the middle of the house or closer. Like, it could be a severe gradation of the image of the mirage. However, my point is that when you have the image of the house with no mirage, and then you have an image of the house with a mirage, wherever the mirage begins, that's called the vanishing line. Why? Because the rest of the house vanishes behind the mirage. The house is still there, right? Because I can show you the field of view with no mirage. Look, there's the house. It's still there. So now you can see the roof, you can see the first floor, and then the mirage kicks in. At that part, that's your y-axis. That's your y-axis. Okay? Now, as you go below the mirage into the image of the mirage, that is the x-axis. That is now depth, because the mirage begins halfway through the house, and then the mirage ends somewhere in your proximity. You see how I'm doing that with my hand? Like, the mirage comes to you over the surface you are looking. That is not the way science describes a mirage. And yet, that's scientific smurfdom fact. I can demonstrate that all day long. All day long. And so can others. Now that I've talked about it, another channel, his name is Paul. His channel name is Plain Reality. And he's got fantastic data. All right, I don't even know what I'm saying right now. I'm like rambling, lost. I probably lost all of you guys because this is such an abstract concept. So going back to the positivity of spirituality, everything that you seek, you already have, okay? So I wish that I could have sat down philosophically with each of these children, or all three together, you know, and just poured into them that everything that they will be, they have within them right now. And to then help them understand that an acorn that is an oak tree in gestation, you know, in genetically immature, to a degree of immaturity, an acorn is an immature oak tree, right? But everything the oak tree is in the acorn. And that's you, and that's me. So then it becomes an issue of sentience, right? You have awareness. Like, who am I? Like, what do I want to be when I grow up? No, that's not the question. The question is not what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be now? Be that. What do you want to do right now? Do that. You have everything you need. Do you want to be loving? Be loving. Oh, but I have to be saved by Jesus Christ through the power of the Spirit. No, you don't. No, you don't. Do you know how many lovely non-Christians there are? Do you know how many people love people more than Christians love people? Lots. You don't need this magic spirit to give you the ability. But that's the way I thought. That's the way I believed. That shaped my mind. I would have to ask God to give me, in prayer right now, let us bow our heads. We are going to ask God to give us those things for which we cannot. We are going to ask God to do for us those things which we cannot do for ourselves. No. Do all things through yourself. You can do all things through yourself.